अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामः सिद्धिर्भवतु नः सदा। हयग्रीव हयग्रीव हयग्रीवेति यो वदेत् तस्य निस्सरते वाणी जह्नुकन्या प्रवाहवत्। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनूमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। रत्नाकराधौतपदां हिमालयकिरीटिनीं ब्रह्मराजर्षिरत्नाढ्यां वन्दे भारतमातरम्। गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे। न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। वन्दे शम्भुमुमापतिं सुरगुरुं वन्दे जगत्कारणं वन्दे पन्नगभूषणं मृगधरं वन्दे पशूनां पतिं वन्दे सूर्यशशाङ्कवह्निनयनं वन्दे मुकुन्दप्रियं वन्दे भक्तजनाश्रयं च वरदं वन्दे शिवं शङ्करम्। आद्यायामिततेजसे श्रुतिपदैर्वेद्याय साध्यायते विद्यानन्दमयात्मने त्रिजगतः संरक्षणोद्योगिने। ध्येयायाखिलयोगिभिः सुरगणैर्गेयाय मायाविने सम्यक् ताण्डवसंभ्रमाय जटिने सेयं न दिशम्भवे। करचरणकृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वापराधं विहितमविहितं वा सर्वमेतत् क्षमस्व। जय जय करुणाब्धे श्रीमहादेव शम्भो। कृपासमुद्रं सुमुखं त्रिनेत्रं जटाधरं पार्वती वामभागं सदाशिवं रुद्रमनन्तमूर्तिं चिदम्बरेशं हृदि भावयामि। आनन्दनटन प्रकाशम् आनन्दनटन प्रकाशं चित्सभेशम् आश्रयामि शिवकामवल्लीशम्। आनन्दनटन प्रकाशम् भानुकोटि कोटि संकाशं भानुकोटि कोटि संकाशं भुक्ति मुक्तिप्रद दहराकाशं भुक्ति मुक्तिप्रद दहराकाशं दीनजन संरक्षणचरणं दीनजन संरक्षणचरणं दिव्यपतञ्जलिव्याघ्रपाददर्शितकुण्डिताब्जचरणम्। आनन्दनटन प्रकाशम् शीतांशुगङ्गाधरं नीलकण्ठरं श्रीकेदारादिक्षेत्र आधारं भूतेशं शार्दूलचर्माम्बरं चिदम्बरं भूसुरत्रिसहस्रमुनीश्वरं विश्वेश्वरं नवनीतहृदयं सदयगुरुहतातमाद्यं वेदवेद्यं वीतरागिणमप्रमेयाद्वैतप्रतिपाद्यं सङ्गीतवाद्यविनोदताण्डवजातभक्तरभेदचोद्यम्। आनन्दनटन प्रकाशं चेत्सभेशम् आश्रयामि शिवकामवल्लीशम्। हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव। हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव हर नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव Swagatam, Suswagatam, a very warm welcome to all of you present here. So it's a very auspicious day for me. It's a very great day for me because we are all here for a talk on Shivaleela. Before I start, I would like to first present my gratitude to BTCCGL who gave this opportunity to give this talk on Shivaleela. Secondly, I would like to thank all you audience for being present here for this. Prahlada in Bhagavatam it is mentioned. Prahlada states that there are 9 forms of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoha Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. These are the 9 forms of devotion. Of these 9 forms of devotion, you audience will be engrossed in Shravanam, the foremost form of knowledge or devotion, and I will follow behind you in the next form of devotion, Kirtanam. Also, I would like to take this opportunity to remember and salute my gurus. Ekamevaksharam yastu guru shishyam prabodhayet prithiviyam nasti taddravyam taddatva chandrani bhavet. I have been graced by the blessings of several teachers, but on this occasion I would like to present my gratitude and salutations to my guru, Srimati Anantalakshmi Natarajan. She has been a guiding light for me right from the age of 5, and she has taught me Sanskrita, Sanskriti and Samskara. So I would like to take this opportunity to receive her blessings in this Shivaleela talk. I would like to then go into a small Lagu Parichaya of myself. I am Vidyadhara Devi. I am a PhD student in the mechanical department here at Purdue. I have learned Sanskrit from the age of 5 and I am continuing to do so. I have also taught Sanskrit for around 7 years back in India. I have written and enacted in a few Sanskrit natakas as well. And I will take this opportunity to present as much knowledge I have bequeathed from my gurus. So with this, let us directly jump into discussing about the hero of today's talk, Lord Shiva. The name Shiva itself in Sanskritam means Mangalam, auspicious. So anything auspicious is given the name Shiva. Hence, even in Kalidasa's famous masterpiece, Abhignana Shakuntalam, Kalidasa blesses Shakuntala, Shiva's de Panthanas, may your path be auspicious and Mangalam. So Shiva itself, the word itself means Mangalam. The other name for Shiva is Shankara. Sham Karoti iti Shankara. One who does auspicious is Shankara. Hence, the name Shiva itself is the bringer of auspiciousness. A very famous shloka tells, Vidyasu Shrutirutkrishta Rudra Ekadashini Shrutau Tatra Panchakshari Tasyam Shiva Ityaksharadvayam. So we have a huge amount of knowledge presented as given to us, and among the entire forms of knowledge, Shruti or Vedas is the foremost. In Shruti, the 11 cantos of Shri Rudram is considered to be most important. In Shri Rudram, the most important mantra is the Panchakshari mantra, Namah Shivaya. But here the Kavi beautifully says, even in that Panchakshari mantra, the 2 letters Shiva is the most auspicious, which indicates that in the entire knowledge present, Shiva itself is the essence and the essence of the entire knowledge that is present. Hence, Shiva is the auspicious and he is also the essence of all the knowledge available. To also tell the importance of Shiva Nama, I'll take a few moments to talk about a very small folklore story. So it is told that once a hunter and his young son, they go to the forest for hunting. As they are hunting, a tiger attacks the hunter, and on his deathbed, the hunter calls his son and tells, "Oh son, I'll tell you how a hunter should lead a life and you should follow that." He'll tell, a hunter attacks, kills and eats. These are the 3 things a hunter should do. But he tells this in Sanskritam. The boy who is not yet well versed in Sanskritam gets the words but does not understand the meaning. But before he can even ask the meaning, the father dies and the tiger starts attacking again. So in fear, the boy runs up a tree and sits there. As he sits there, the tiger is growling at the bottom. And since the father and the son were hungry, the boy's stomach is growling. Now the day ends, the night starts, and the tiger is still at the bottom. So in order to while away the time and to not fall asleep, and also to remember those 3 words that his father had told, so that he can go back to his family and ask them what those 3 words mean, what the young son does is, he plucks the leaf from the tree and he drops it, repeating those 3 words. Attack, kill, eat. He picks another leaf, attack, kill, eat. He keeps chanting those 3 words in order to not forget them and also to not fall asleep. As he does this, his intention is to go back to his house in the morning. But when morning comes, Shiva himself appears before him and gives him moksha. Now let us rewind the situation and look at this particular situation. This day is told to be the day of Shivarathri. The young boy had not eaten anything, so it was Upavasa. The 3 words that he was told to tell were attack, kill and eat. In Sanskritam, the words for these are prahara, samhara, ahara. Now, the tree that the boy climbed is called the Bilva Vriksha, which is very auspicious for Lord Shiva. He was removing the leaves of Bilva and he was dropping it. And coincidentally, the place where this Bilva Patra was falling is where a Shivalinga was present. Now, prahara, samhara, ahara. Though he did not understand the meaning, the words included the phrase hara, hara, hara. So the entire night he was awake. So he did Jagaran and he was chanting Haranama. So since all these came together and he chanted Haranama, Samhara, Prahara, Ahara, he kept on chanting Hara even though not voluntarily knowing what he was doing. That itself Shiva was pleased with that bhakti and he appeared before him and he gave him moksha. So it means that just chanting the name of the Lord is good enough to attain moksha. So the other aspect is the name of today's talk is Shivaleela. Vishnu, whenever he takes a pastime, whenever he does any pastime, it is in the form of avatara. But Shiva does not have avataras. Whatever the pastimes he does is called Leela. Hence the name of today's topic is Shivaleela. Namas Sundaranathaya tasmai halasya vasine chaturshashti vidha leelaha yena kari bhuvasthale. So this shloka tells that Shiva on this earth performed 64 different pastimes which are called Shivaleela. So this entire collection of acts or pastimes of Shiva is called Shivaleela. I have taken a few selected and important Leelas from this. The other thing that you can observe is there are several works written in praise of Vishnu. You have Vishnu Purana, you have Bhagavata, you have Ramayana, you have Mahabharata, so many works. But the number of works written in favor of Shiva is limited. Hence, to take the material for this talk, I have chosen selective works like Shivaleela Arnavam, Shiva Purana, little bit of Bhagavata, Leelagante Vijaya Champu, etc. Other important aspect here is the chronology. What appeared, what incident happened first, what incident happened next is not very clear in our Puranas. Hence, I made an effort to put them in order as much as possible, and we'll not worry about the order, but we'll look into the Leelas itself. So with this, let us start with the very first incident, which is the origin, Udbhava of Shiva. Now, if you see the origin of Shiva, if you read Vaishnava Puranas like Bhagavatam or Vishnu Purana, the story told about the birth of Shiva is different. Whereas if you read Shaiva Puranas like Shiva Purana, it is different. I'll tell you briefly how Bhagavata describes it. According to Bhagavata or Vishnu Purana, Vishnu is Anadi. He is the one without any death or birth. He is eternal. From his Nabi, from his navel, arose a Kamala in which Brahma was present. And from Brahma's anger, the form that took for the incarnation that took the form of Brahma's anger is Shiva. This is how it is defined in Bhagavata. But since our hero for the talk is Shiva, we will look into Shiva Purana and how Shiva's Udbhava or origin is presented there. In the beginning, Brahma and Vishnu, they were the only two beings. So when they first met, the first topic of debate was, who is greater? Am I greater? Vishnu will ask, am I greater or are you greater? So they decided to take up a challenge and they wanted to decide who is the better among the two. When they were deciding this, a very big column of light and fire arose. Now how big was this column of fire? In Sri Rudram there is a shloka. Apatala nabhastalanta bhuvana brahmanda mavispurati. So our Brahmanda or universe is told to be formed of 14 worlds, 14 lokas. The 7 bottom ones are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala. These are the 7 lower worlds. The 7 higher worlds are Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Janaha, Maha, Tapaha, Satyam. So these total 14 worlds, they encapsulate the universe or Brahmanda. Now, this shloka tells, Patala, starting from Patala, this column of fire reached the end of the sky, Nabhastala Anta. So this huge column of light arose. Now they decided about a challenge. Brahma and Vishnu decided that Brahma will mount on his Hamsa Pakshi or his Vahana and he'll go towards the top of this column, and Vishnu in his Varaha Avatara will go to the bottom of this tower of light. Whoever reaches their destination first and comes back with proof that they reached that point will be the greater person among the two, and they will get the major responsibilities of running this world. Now Vishnu goes towards the bottom, Shiva goes to Brahma goes towards the top. As Brahma is going, several Chaturyugas pass, but they are not able to reach the other end. As Brahma is ascending, a pushpa called Ketaki pushpa, it's a type of flower, it is falling from the top. Brahma finds that pushpa, he holds it and he asks, where are you falling from? That pushpa tells, I have been falling from the top of this column of light for several yogas. Now Brahma thinks of a plan. He asks the pushpa, the flower, to lie for him and tell that he reached the top and found this pushpa. After a lot of persuasion, the flower agrees to lie for Brahma. So Brahma immediately, through his mode of contact, contacts Vishnu and tells, destination achieved, coming back to starting point, start immediately. So once he tells this, Vishnu receives this information and he tells, okay, he has reached the other end, so they finally come back. Once they come back, Brahma presents that pushpa, the Ketaki pushpa, and tells, okay, see, I have reached the top of this column and this is the proof. You can ask this pushpa. The pushpa, as promised, it lies, telling that yes, Brahma reached the top and he found me there. When Brahma told this lie, that huge column of fire took the form of Shiva and it came in front of Brahma and Vishnu. Because of the deceit and lie told by Brahma, that Shiva was very angry, cut the 5th head of Brahma. So at this point, Brahma had 5 heads, 4 heads looking at 4 directions and the 5th head on the top. This 5th head of Brahma is told to be the source of ignorance, ahankara in Brahma. So Brahma, having this ignorance, his ignorance and ahankara was removed by Shiva. Now how did he remove? Shankaracharya in his Shivananda Lahari tells, Shirastad Vaidhatram Nanukhalu Suvrittam Pashupate. You removed the 5th head of Shiva. How did you remove it? With the fingernail. He uses Kara Nakha. He used just his fingernail to cut the 5th head of Brahma. So, in this way, Vishnu, Shiva's origin is presented in Shiva Purana. So, this is how Shiva was brought into existence, and he is Anadi according to Shiva Purana. Now, in this avatara or in this Leela, we see the Raudra avatara, the ferocious form of Shiva. To see the Karunya avatara, the form of forgiveness, we have to look into the next incident. To look at this incident, we have to go to Indraloka, where the situation starts to unfold. Durvasa is a very famous rishi. He is well known for his anger. Durvasa once is offered a garland of Lakshmi Devi. He gets that garland from Lakshmi Devi and he is very happy. But like any other person, his next thought process is, where do I keep this? I can't throw this because Lakshmi herself gave it to me. So I have to find some way to dispose of it. As he is coming towards Indraloka, he comes in front of Indra, who is standing next to Airavata. And he thinks, he is the right person for me to give this garland to. So he takes that garland and he gives it to Indra and telling that this is a garland from Goddess Lakshmi, you keep it. Now Indra takes it and he does what Indra does best. He puts it on the head of Airavata. It is told that this garland is made out of a flower that has a very strong fragrance. Airavata was unable to bear this smell, and he took the garland with his trunk, dropped it down, and he started going on a rampage. As he went on this rampage, he trampled that garland. And who is a witness to all these incidents? Durvasa. So Durvasa does what he does best by giving a curse. Durvasa cursed Indra that you, because of your arrogance and because of your ahankara, because of the wealth and power you have disregarded this garland that I gave to you. Hence I curse that you shall lose, you devatas shall lose all your power, all your wealth, and the asuras will come and encroach upon this Indraloka, and you will be the slaves of these asuras. Once this was told, Durvasa's job was done, he exited the scene. Now, immediately, all the wealth and power of devatas, it went away, and immediately asuras attacked Indraloka and occupied it. Indra has a very unique form of communication with Brahma. So whenever such a situation happens, he has a mobile phone which directly dials an SOS message to Brahma. Brahma, who is very acquainted with how Indra reacts, automatically sends him to an automated call. Now what is the options present in this automated call? Dial 1 if you messed up. Dial 2 if it's an emergency. But Indra, who has used this service a lot of times, presses 3. What does 3 mean? If 1 and 2, if you messed up and it's an emergency, dial 3. Once he dials 3, the phone call is directly directed to Vishnu. So Vishnu, once he comes to know of the situation, he tells that there are 2 important things that has to be done for this. Firstly, you have to churn the Milky Ocean, the Kshira Samudra, and the second thing is, in order to do this, you should collaborate with asuras, because you alone can't churn the ocean. So after a lot of persuasion from Brihaspati, Brahma, everyone, asuras agree and they decide to churn the ocean. To churn this ocean, they need a churning stick, they need a rope, and the 2 parties that will be churning. The churning stick was Mandara Parvata. The mountain Mandara became the churning stick for this process. Vasuki, the snake that Shiva wears around his neck, that became the rope that they will churn with. And the asuras are on one side, the devatas are on one side, and they start pulling. But if you see, whenever you start churning, you need something strong at the bottom to prevent it from collapsing. And the sea or the ocean bed, as they started churning, it started to go, the mountain started to sink inside. So in order to prevent it from sinking, Vishnu took the Kurmavatara, the form of a tortoise, and supported it from the bottom. But in order to prevent it from wobbling around, Vishnu took a second form called Sahasrabahu, a 1,000-armed person, and he stood on the top and held it in place. So now the mountain can only rotate about its axis. As they start churning this ocean, Devatas and Asuras are tired. So in order to help them churn the ocean, Vishnu further divides into 2 and goes on to the Devata side and to the Asura side and helps them churn. So Vishnu is doing 4 tasks. Kurmavatara at the bottom, Sahasrabahu on the top, and 2 Vishnus on either side to churn. Now, let us leave the incident at this point and go to the end of Samudra Mathana. What happened at the end of Samudra Mathana? 14 precious and auspicious things came from this Samudra Mathana. What are they? Lakshmi. Lakshmi, she came out of Samudra Mathana. Kaustubha, a very precious jewel. Parijata, an auspicious flower, came out of this. Sura, a kind of wine that was given to the Asuras, that came out of this Samudra Mathana. Dhanvantari, the sage well versed in Ayurveda and medicine, he came. Chandra, he also came. A cow called Kamadhenu. An elephant, that is Airavata, Indra's Vahana. The 7-headed horse called Ucheshravas. Then the Rambha, Urvashi, Menaka and all the Apsarastri, they also came from Samudra Mathana. Vishnu's bow and Vishnu's conch, it also arose from Samudra Mathana, and along with all these came Hala. Now a Kavi, Neelakantha Dikshita, he observed this incident in a very beautiful way and tells, Drishtva Kaustubham Apsaro Ganamapi Prakranta Badamithaha Kirvanaha Prativana Santi Bhumane Bhara Divah Kevalam. He tells, when these precious things came from the ocean, what did the Devatas do? They started fighting among themselves as to who should get what. Indra told, I want the Parijata, another person came and told, I want Kamadhenu. Another god came and told, I want Kalpavriksha. So they started fighting among themselves. But these same devatas who fought over these precious things, when Hala, a very toxic poison came out of that samudra, they could not do even a single thing. They were helpless. But this Kavi tells that Shiva, when all these Asura, Devatas and Asuras were fighting among themselves for these precious things, but could not do a single thing when Hala came, only one person came and helped them, and that is Shiva. Shiva presented himself telling that, do not fear, Ma Bhaishtihi, do not fear, I will help you. That Shiva who came at the right moment when the Hala, the Visha came, is the only person who should be saluted, who is worth saluting. All the other gods are just namesake. So, if you see till the end of Samudra Mathana, Shiva received nothing. Shiva received none of the precious things that came out of Samudra Mathana, but all the other Asuras did. But still, Shiva came, he collected the entire Visha, Hala in his palm, and he drank it. Now once he put it in his mouth, Parvati came running and she told, Shiva, please do not swallow it. Parvati came and told, Shiva, do not swallow it. Because, Shiva is told to contain the entire Brahmanda within himself, so if he swallows it, all the Brahmanda will be lost. So, Parvati comes and says, do not swallow. So, when Shiva is ready to spit it out, Vishnu comes running and says, do not spit it out. Parvati is telling, do not swallow. Shiva is telling, do not spit it out. In this case, what does Shiva do? Shiva thinks of the right thing to do. I will neither swallow nor spit it out. I will let it be in my throat forever, where it will reside eternally. And this gave Shiva the name Neelakantha. So, the thing that we take away from this is, though Shiva had no benefit from doing all this, he got none of the precious items, he did not have to take the risk. Still, just for the sake of his devotees, he came and he helped them by drinking that Hala which no one else was ready to do. Now, the next major thing is Shivarathri is celebrated for one major reason. That is Girija Kalyana. The day when Shiva and Parvati married is the day that it is celebrated as Girija Kalyana and Shivarathri as well. To correct myself technically from the previous incident, I told Parvati came and told Shiva, do not swallow. But to be correct, it is Sati who came and told Shiva to not swallow, because Sati is Dakshayani's daughter. And Parvati is not yet born at this time. So Sati is the previous incarnation of Parvati. Once, Daksha has a prolonged difference with Shiva, so he does not like Shiva. But Sati, the daughter of Dakshayani, she finally falls in love with Shiva and marries him. Later on, being insulted by Daksha, she lets herself to be sacrificed by the fire. And later on, that is when Shiva goes into tapas. Once Sati is dead, Shiva becomes a sannyasi, parama yogi, and he does not have any attachment to the material benefits and worldly affairs, and he becomes a sannyasi. Now, it is told, the next part of the talk, I'll be taking from Kumara Sambhavam, where it is told that Parvati is born to Himavan or Himalaya and Mena, the husband and wife. The daughter born to Himavan and Mena is Parvati. Parvati, right from a very young age, she starts doing a penance or tapas to attain Shiva as her husband. But her mother is always telling, do not do this tapas, it is not good for you. But later on, she is allowed to do tapas. As she is doing this tapas, Indra is again, Tarakasura is a asura who is given a boon that he shall be killed by Shiva and Parvati's son. But Shiva, being a Parama Yogi, has not yet reached a point where he is ready to accept another wife. So, Indra sends Manmatha to Shiva in order to hasten or fasten the process of the marriage between Shiva and Parvati. As Manmatha approaches Kailasa, Shiva understands that something is wrong and he burns Manmatha with his third eye, and Manmatha is killed. Now Parvati performs an even severe penance, and she stands in the cold waters of Ganga to in the winter. She stands in the middle of fire in the summer to do penance. Finally, Shiva is very pleased and he appears before her and tells, "Oh Parvati, I have been purchased as a dasa to you and I'll be an eternal servant to you, and from today I'm your husband." And after this, the auspicious incidents of the marriage, the Panigrahana, the Kanyadana, and all these important incidents happen, and the auspicious event of Shiva Parvati Kalyanam happens. So the Samudra Mathana was a very important incident because the entire Brahmanda was involved. Asuras were involved, Devatas were involved, Brahma, Vishnu, everyone was there. The next incident that I will be talking about is Tripurasura Samhara. This is also a pan-Brahmanda event where there are three sons of Tarakasura: Tarakaksha, Kamalaksha and Vidyunmali. They do a penance on Brahma and get a boon that they should be given three worlds, three lokas, one built of gold, one built of silver and one built of iron. The beauty of these cities is they are not stationary, they keep moving around. They are always moving in space. The extension of this boon is they shall only be killed when a single arrow pierces through all the three cities at the same time. So with this situation present, Vishnu finally approaches Shiva and tells Shiva, you should take the responsibility of doing this destruction. So Shiva becomes the warrior and he has to go into battle. And how does he go into battle? A warrior has to be prepared to go into battle. And how does he prepare? Shankaracharya beautifully tells, in order to do this task, the warrior needs a chariot. And for this, the chariot itself becomes the earth. The earth becomes the chariot for Shiva. The chariot needs wheels. The wheels are Surya and Chandra. These two become the wheels of this chariot. In order to draw this chariot, horses are needed and the four Vedas become the horses. To ride this chariot, a Sarathi, a charioteer is needed. Brahma becomes the charioteer. In order to kill this Tripura, Shiva needs a bow. The mountain Kodanda becomes this bow and Vishnu himself becomes the arrow. And the bowstring is Vasuki. Vasuki is again the same snake that Shiva wears around his neck, that becomes the bowstring. So with this beautiful arrangement, with the earth as the chariot, the Surya, Chandra as the wheels, the four Vedas as the chariots, as the horses, Shiva as the warrior, Brahma as the charioteer, Vishnu as the arrow, the Kodanda, the mountain Meru as the bow, and the bowstring as Vasuki, Shiva goes into battle. And at the precise moment when all the three cities line up, Shiva draws his arrow and leaves it, and this single arrow goes and pierces through all the three cities, killing them instantly. Vedanta Deshika, a very famous polymath of the 13th and 12th century, he told that if you see an arrow, though the arrow has a very long body, the main part that damages is the tip of this arrow. And Vedanta Deshika tells that the tip of this arrow, though the arrow was Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu himself, the tip of this arrow was Sudarshana. So this Tripuranta, hence we even have the Tripuranta Kaya Kala Kalaya. So this incident where Shiva destroys all the three cities and with a single arrow gives him the name Tripurantaka, and this incident is called Tripura Samhara. In order to see how Shiva, to what extent Shiva goes to protect his devotees, the famous story is the story of Markandeya. Mrikandu is a very famous saint who is very ardent, who is an ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, but he does not have any children. So he performs severe penance on Lord Shiva, and Shiva, who appears before him, gives him two options. One is, you can get a son who will live for 100 years, but he will never be a Shiva Bhakta, and he will torment other Shiva Bhaktas. The second option is, he will live only for 16 years, but he will be a very Parama Shiva Bhakta. Whom do you want? Mrikandu decides to choose the second option, where he will have a son who will live only for 16 years, but he will be a very ardent devotee of Shiva. This son, born to Mrikandu, is given the name Markandeya. Markandeya, as blessed by Lord Shiva, is a very ardent devotee of Shiva, very well versed in all forms of all the Puranas and Vedas, and he is worshipping. At the destined age of 16, when he is supposed to die, Yama sends his dutas, Yamakinkaras, to bring Markandeya's life. Markandeya is doing his tapas, and his tapas shakti is so strong that the Kinkaras are not even able to go near him. So they go back to Yama and report that we are not able to go approach Markandeya and we are not able to take his life. Yama is called the keeper of time. So he's given the only task of maintaining time and order. So Yama, who did not want to let go of this job given to him, he himself comes to Markandeya where Markandeya is doing tapas and requests Markandeya that, see, your time on earth is done. So please come with us because I have to keep up this job. Markandeya has only one request. I will come with you, but only after I see Shiva. When Shiva comes before me, after I see him, I will come with you. But Yama cannot wait anymore and he persuades Markandeya to come. Markandeya, who does not want to go, goes and hugs this linga, Shiva linga, tightly, telling that I will not let go. Yama is not able to wait any longer, so he casts his noose or Yama Pasha around Markandeya, which accidentally falls around the Shiva linga as well. Once this happens, Shiva, who is enraged by the act of Yama about how Yama was treating his devotee, he appears from that Shiva linga and he kills Yama instantly. Hence he gets the name Kala Kala. This incident is told to happen in the current place called Tirukkadayu in Tamil Nadu, where Shiva is called Amrita Ghateshwara. The incarnation of Shiva, when he did this pastime, is called Amrita Ghateshwara and is present in Tirukkadayu. This incident shows to what extent Shiva can go in order to protect his devotees. The last incident that I would like to talk about is Gangavataranam. Gangavataranam is the descent of Ganga to the earth. So, the incident is, Sagara is a very famous king of the Ikshvaku or the Surya Vamsha. He performed an Ashwamedha Yajna and he sets his horse free according to the sacrifice. Now, according to the sacrifice, the horse has to roam freely and the king's soldiers should go and protect the horse. Sagara sends 60,000 of his sons. Sagara has 60,000 sons and he sends them to protect this horse. Now, Indra, we know Indra, he does what he does best. He steals that horse. He steals that horse and goes to Patala Loka and he ties it next to a rishi called Kapila. So Kapila Muni is doing a penance and he does not know what is happening. Indra takes this opportunity to take this horse and tie it next to his ashrama. Now the Sagara sons, they are looking for this horse everywhere, they are not able to find it. Finally they receive some information that someone was taking this horse towards Patala. So these Sagara sons, they dig up the earth in search of Patala. And these places where they dug up is told to be the 7 samudras, Sapta samudras that we have, is told to be the places where Sagara's sons dug up and the water flowed in. So once they reach Patala, they reach Kapila Muni's ashrama and there they see the horses present. So now they start blaming and insulting Kapila Muni that he was the person who stole. Kapila Muni is still in penance and he does not know anything that is happening. So they start torturing him by piercing him with spears and beating him up. Enraged by this, Kapila Muni opens his eyes and instantly burns all the 60,000 sons of Sagara in an instant. Now Sagara's sons did not return. Sagara is very anxious what has happened. So he sends his grandson, Anshuman. Anshuman, finally having received information that Sagara's were last found and Sagara's sons were last found when they were going towards Patala, he makes his way to Patala and there he reaches Kapila Muni's ashrama. Having gone to Kapila Muni's ashrama, Kapila tells, I am really sorry, it was not my intention to kill them, but my tapas was such that once I opened my eyes, they were instantly burned. And he also tells that there is only one way that they can receive salvation, because since they were killed, they did not receive salvation. So there is only one way that they can receive salvation, and that is if Ganga herself comes and washes the ashes of your fathers. Having received this information, finally Anshuman takes that horse, goes back to Sagara, tells what has happened, and finally they finish that yajna, Ashwamedha yajna, they finish it. Anshuman throughout his entire life, he does a lot of penance in order to get Ganga, but he is unsuccessful. He appoints his son Dilipa to do the same task. Dilipa also tries, but he is also unsuccessful. Finally, Dilipa's son Bhagiratha, he is told that okay, this is what happened to your great grandfathers, and in order for them to receive salvation, you should bring Ganga to the earth. Bhagiratha, taking it up as his life's mission, he gives all his empire, everything in the hands of his ministers, and he goes and starts doing penance. He does a penance for several years on Lord Brahma. So Ganga is told to be the first daughter of Himalaya. But when she is born, the Devatas take her to Devaloka, and there she becomes Sura Nadi, the divine river. So she is in Suraloka, and she has to be sent from there. And the only person who has the authority to do that is Brahma. So Bhagiratha does a lot of penance on Brahma. Finally, after a lot of years in penance, Brahma is pleased and he appears before Bhagiratha and tells, "I am pleased. What do you want?" Bhagiratha tells, "Please send Ganga to the earth." But Brahma is okay. He tells, "Okay, I'll release Ganga and she can come to the earth." But he warns Bhagiratha that Ganga is very arrogant. She has a lot of ahankara. So when I release her, she will forcefully come in as much force as possible to the earth with an intention to shatter the earth. That is the force with which she will come to the earth. So the earth, Bhumi, won't be able to bear this force. So you should ask Vishnu in order to help you. He asked Shiva in order to help you. So again, after one long penance on Brahma, Bhagiratha starts a second penance on Shiva. And after again several years in penance, Shiva is pleased, he appears, and Bhagiratha prays that, "Oh Shiva, so Ganga, I have finally requested Brahma to release Ganga to the earth, but you have to be the person who will soften the blow that Ganga will come with." So finally, Shiva agrees, and on the incident where Ganga is descending from Swarga to the earth, it's called Gangavataranam. Ganga in her arrogance thinks that even Shiva will not be able to match or control the force that I am flowing with. But once Shiva holds the entire Ganga in his jata, in his mated hair, Ganga's arrogance is lost, and she agrees to do Bhagiratha's job. And rather, so Bhagiratha wanted just the ashes to be washed. But Ganga, having lost her arrogance, she herself agrees that she will continuously flow on the earth and not just give salvation to Sagara's sons, but to everyone who comes and worships her. So Ganga starts in Swarga, she comes to Bhumi, she goes to Patala, and then she comes out. Since she travels in 3 different worlds, she is called Tripathaga. Tripatha is 3 different worlds or 3 different paths. Hence, since she flows in Swarga, then Bhumi, and in Patala, she is called Tripathaga. So in this way, Shiva, again, for no benefit of his, if you read, if you go through all these incidents of Shiva, the common thing that you see is, without any self-benefit, without any selfish needs, Shiva is probably the only person who selflessly does good for the others. And Vishnu is called Asurantaka. He's called the killer of Asuras. So he's never worshipped by Asuras. But if you see Shiva, Ravana himself came and worshipped Shiva, and he even wrote the very famous Shivatandava Stotram. So that is the greatness of Shiva, where even the enemy appreciates him. So having listened to all these beautiful Leelas of Shiva, and having been blessed and hopefully being blessed by Shiva and Parvati, we'll conclude this talk. I have hoped to present whatever is the extent of my knowledge to all of you through these Shiva Leelas, and we hope that Shiva's grace, Shiva Parvati's grace are on all of us, and let them give us all the jnana and remove all the ahankara. So with this, we will go into the Mangalacharanam, the conclusion of this talk. Ganga Jatadhara Gauri Shankara Girija Manoramana Jaya Mrityunjaya Mahadeva Maheshwara Mangala Shubhacharana Nandi Vahana Nagabhushana Nirupama Guna Sadana Jaya Natana Manohara Neelakantha Swami Neerajadala Nayana Neerajadala Nayana. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Namah Parvati Padaye. Hara Hara Mahadeva. Hara Namah Parvati Padaye. Hara Hara Mahadeva. Hara Namah Parvati Padaye. Hara Hara Mahadeva. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्याय्येन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। राम राम।